Hello everyone. This is a video to show you how to use the AutoCrat add-on for Google Sheets that will allow you to do some merging of information that's collected in your sheet into a format that is a document. So I'm going to go through the steps for doing that. So I have a couple of things I need to do before I can actually even use the add-on. Is the first thing I have to have my form, of course. So I have a simple teacher professional development sign up. So I've asked for their first and last name and the PD sessions that they want to sign up for. There's only 4 here, very simple. Could be done in a much, in a different way, but this is just for an example. I didn't ask for their email because in this case, I'm not going to email them, but you could definitely include the email address and email them their responses. That would be a good idea. Okay, so now that I have my form created, I know what information I'm asking for. So that will allow me to create the Google Doc template that I need to create so that I can merge the information that I'm getting from my form into this document. So I have a document already created. I did a little half sheet document. The date that this was created, thank you, first name, last name, blah, blah, blah. So you'll notice on this template, you have some interesting items here. First name, last name, and those and some symbols around them. Those symbols around them are called chevrons, and they're using the keys on your keyboard, the less than, greater than sign for those of you that are math people, but they're on your keyboard. These come directly from my form. Remember, I asked for the person's first name, so I could simply copy this and paste it into my template if I want, or I can type it. The only caveat to that is it has to be accurate. If you have an extra space, you don't use the right uppercase, lowercase, it won't work. So copying and pasting is not a bad idea. And then just put the two little chevrons around at the beginning and at the end, and everything will work out great. And then here, I have a little table that I put together. It wouldn't have to be a table, it could be anything, with the time that they signed up and the title. So again, you see the little chevrons around this. This lets you know it's pulling from that form information. So if I go in and look at my form again, my first item is called PD Session 1, 8 a.m. And so that's what I have in my table here. So that shows you the relationship between your form and your template. So once those two things are set up, then in your form, you need to make sure that you have a Google Sheet that corresponds and is collecting your responses. So I go to my forms, I see I've filled this in 3 times because I've been practicing, and I go to my sheet icon. It says View Responses and Sheets, and I click on that. If you don't have a form created, it will give you the opportunity to create it. You guys have done this a couple times, so you should be comfortable with this process. But anyway, I already have a sheet created, so it pops up and shows me the information that I've been collecting. So AutoCrat is actually installed in this Google Sheet. It's not installed in my form. So I'm going to go to my add-ons, and I see I have AutoCrat already installed. Again, you've already installed add-ons, so you know how to do this. But if you need a little reminder, you would go down to Get Add-ons, search for AutoCrat, and follow that process. Okay, AutoCrat is installed. I'm going to show you the steps I went through to set up this merging operation that's going on. So I'm going to open up my AutoCrat and just walk you through the settings that I created when I was doing this this process. AutoCrat takes a little bit of time to load, so just need to be a little patient with it. So I already have an existing job, but if I didn't, I would create a new job. So I'm going to create a new job, and it's going to be new PDE, new sign up for PD. Okay, so I'm going to go next. It says I don't have a template selected. I actually have one down here, and I could just use that one. Or I can navigate to my drive, I'm going to show you that, and select the template that I already have saved in my drive. Again, it's a little slow. And that might be your internet connection. It might work a little faster if you're on a faster connection than I am. So let me see if it's going to pull up here. So I did a little search there and I just typed in PD, and so I'm going to go ahead and select Teacher PD Sign Up Template. I'm going to select that. Okay, and then once it shows up here, I know that I've selected, my template has been selected, and I can go on to the next option here. So this information is saying, letting me select how I'm going to match information from the form responses in my Google Sheet to my template. This is very, very important. So by default, it knows that my information is being stored down here. You can see form responses 1. The first row is a header. That's my column headings. And the second row starts the actual data. Now, I use the exact same names in my form as I did in my template. So AutoCrat's smart enough to go ahead and match those up for me. If I didn't, or if things don't work quite correctly, I can go in and actually select the two things that I want to match manually. So know that you can always do that. So I'm going to double check that everything is matching up the way I want it to be. Looks very good. And I'm going to say next. So what file name? How do I want to save each of these forms that I'm creating? Well, I would definitely like to know the person's name that's completing it, and I would like to know the document name, the form name, so that those two things correspond, because I might have several of these throughout the year, and so it would be very easy. So I can either, if you'll notice there's a little slider bar here, go over here and say, okay, I want to know the person's last name, and then I can paste it in here. Control C, Command C. Okay. I would also like to know the person's first name that filled it out. I'm going to paste that here. And then I would like to know the form name, and I don't know. Oh, there it is, Teacher PDE sign up. Okay. So I can paste that in. And then there was did you notice the one that said today? I'm going to go ahead and select that and paste that in, because that will put the current date on it. So that way I know exactly when it was created. Again, play with those. You could type them in, but the easiest way is to select them using this little pull-out menu here. Okay, so I can either do it as a Google Doc or as a PDF. So for right now, I'm going to leave it as a Google Doc. The advantage of a Google Doc is that I can change information in my Google Doc. So if I needed to tweak something a little bit, I could do that. In a PDF, it's a little harder. So I'm going to leave it as a Google Doc. I want you to experiment with multiple documents or single documents. If you do single documents, it says add page breaks between data rows, and I would select yes. So I'm going to go ahead and say next. Now it says, where am I going to save all these things? You really just don't want them being thrown into your Google Drive. You really need to have a very organized method for doing this. So I created a folder ahead of time, and so I'm going to go ahead and choose that folder so that all of these documents will go into that one location, so they're easy for me to find. And I call them merge docs. You can call it whatever. You could call it PDE training information, whatever makes sense for you and whatever will work for you. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and say next. I'm not going to go through these optional items here, but if you're an advanced user or you just want to get into this a little bit more, I encourage you to go back and explore those. If you need a little bit of help, down here is a help guide that will help you out with that. So I'm going to go ahead and go next. Again, merge conditions are optional. You can set it up so that if they answer one question yes, it creates these forms. If they answer another one no, it doesn't. Or they have a pass fail kind of thing. So there's lots of options there. Again, use your help guide if you'd like to explore that a little bit more in depth. Share docs and send emails. I'm not going to, but again, if you wanted to, explore all of these options. But right now I'm not going to. I just want them to create them and put them in that folder. So click Next. Do I run form on trigger? So these are triggers that you could do. The first one is if somebody submits a form, I automatically run the merge. And actually, once I get this working and I know it's working, I'm going to do that. Right now, I'm not going to set a trigger. This one is on time. So you can set it to run every hour, every 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Again, explore those on your own. For right now, I'm going to manually run this job. Oops, it says back. Instead of back, I need to save that. So I'm going to save my job. Okay, so I have 2 jobs here. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go to my form and I'm going to complete my form as a new person. So I'm going to be okay, and I'm going to sign up for some sessions. And submit. Okay, let's go back to my sheet. And I see the new person, Zane Stevens, has been assigned here. If I scroll over, I see some columns that I didn't create, but AutoCrat created for me. So all of these that are in bold, leave them because AutoCrat, that's information for AutoCrat. This column here is kind of nice because it will take you directly to a document if you wanted to see a document directly. So I'm going to go ahead now though and go to my AutoCrat and open it. And I'm going to be selecting the job that I want to run, and then I'm manually going to run it. Teacher PDE, so I'm going to pull up that job and run it. And let me close it. And I should see that I have some new information underneath my AutoCrat columns. So let's go into my merged documents. And I can see the Zane Stevens there. Let me open it up. And here it is. So this is the document that I could then decide at a later time, print it, email it to the person. But here is a Google Doc that has been created from a form. The results have been posted into Sheets. And then in Sheets, I installed AutoCrat and created this merged document. So there you go. That's how you use AutoCrat to merge information into a Google Doc. So happy merging.